Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the first ever Ahrtimmer Awards for the year of 2012. It's been a very good year. Very good year for gaming indeed. I played a lot of games. I played more than I probably should have and spent more money than I probably should have. But overall, I've enjoyed this year immensely, and there've been a vast number of great games. And so I figured I'd commemorate that by giving each of the games I played an award that describes how I felt about it. Now, some of these awards are positive. Some of them are indeed quite negative. But for the most part, I just want to commemorate this year. So how about we get started? One of the earlier games I played this year was Tribes Ascend. Tribes Ascend, as some of you know, is a first-person shooter with a multiplayer bent, based around the idea of skiing down hills, jetpacking up them, and moving at ridiculous speeds. And I gotta say, this game was really, really fun. I kind of came out of the blue for me. I'd never played a Tribes game before and didn't really know what to expect. And it just, when I played it, it was new, it was exciting, had some totally foreign concepts to me that were incredibly enjoyable and really brought first-person shooters back for me, because I haven't really enjoyed anything from the Call of Duty series and things like that. And it's deserving of every bit of praise it receives. It's a phenomenal game. But it's really freaking hard. The top speed I ever managed to achieve probably would have been 250, and that was a fluke. In Tribes Ascend, I've seen people grab the flag at 500 kilometers an hour. No, 400. Let's not exaggerate too much here. 400 kilometers an hour. It's absurd how fast some people go. I rarely get a kill because I can't land a projectile, because the projectile weapons are all the weapons are projectile except the sniper rifle, and I'm bad at sniping, so I don't even go there. But all the weapons are projectile, and it's a little bit too slow. The only weapon I was ever good at was the submachine gun of the infiltrator type class, the stealthy, sneaky assassin, and that just seemed cheap. Because bullet weapons in that game just feel... they're not overpowered as such, but they lack skill, and the game is all about skill. Skill that I lack. Tribes Ascend, you are getting the achievement, the award, the Ahrtimmer Award, for this year's hardest game. Another game I played, Sniper Elite V2. I played with Sirloin Steak, a Let's Play. We went through the entire game and shot many people and caused bones to break and eyeballs to rupture and all sorts of violent, horrific kill cams. And the game's brutal and just... it's a good game. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, I found there's nothing exceptional about it. It had everything about it was solid, but nothing was amazing or outstanding, and consequently the game, while being good, wasn't memorable. There wasn't something massive about it that made me go, this is amazing. The only truly unique feature it has is the fact that its multiplayer is tense. And besides, say, The Hidden, I haven't played a multiplayer game that actually makes me tense and makes every moment a worry, because you gotta try and figure out where the enemy's hiding, but every movement risks alerting them of your position. Of course, you occasionally have the really, really noob players running around in the middle of the fields, but they die pretty darn quick, and they learn their lesson. Sniper Elite V2, you are receiving the Ahrtimmer Award for the best all-rounder game of 2012. You had a little bit of everything, but nothing in too great a quantity. The next game I would like to speak to you about is a sad, sad tale. And many of you will agree. I imagine there are some people who disagree, but Diablo III was a horrible game. The only way I managed to enjoy and finish that game was the fact that I was playing with friends. They got me through the game, and they'd had some cool moments. I was playing a witch doctor, so I got to throw frogs at people for a living. That's funny, but the game itself just didn't have any of the features that I wanted. I wanted Diablo 2 again. I loved that game so incredibly much. It's my favorite game of all time, and when the next game comes out and doesn't have any of the things that you wanted, they changed it too much. Don't when everyone is expecting you to make the same game again that they loved, don't go and change it for any reason. To add to it. That's all we wanted. They added the wrong things. Diablo 3, you were the biggest disappointment of 2012, and that's a little sad. The next game I'd like to mention is a game that I feel that a lot of people see, but no one really registers. Sins of a Solar Empire, or in this case, Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion. It's effectively a series of games now that kind of skips under the radar, and I only ever got the first one because friends pointed it out to me, and I got this one because I couldn't be effed paying for all the DLC for the first one, and then this came out which has all the DLC plus more. It could have been just an expansion, but I imagine they wanted to improve their engine a little bit more and do some of the things that you can't do while staying with the same game. And I gotta tell you, it's a great game. As far as space strategies go, it's 4X, sort of. It's been described as a 4X Lite by some people. I wouldn't really agree with that. It's a much smaller scale to what you usually expect. It's not like a solar system is the map. Most maps consist of one solar system. A select few consist of 3 or 5. There's some that have 12, but each solar system has about 2 planets and a wormhole. It's a level of scale and detail that you don't normally get from games in the genre, and everything it does really, really neatly. It's very well put together game. Its biggest feature for me, though, is the setting. The reality within it exists. The tech, the Advent, and the Visari races, the technology that's being employed, the existence of an unknown darkness described by the Visari, the death of worlds, chasing them and them fleeing from it and having to choose, and their race fracturing and having a sort of rebellion between whether they just want to run and consume everything in their path to help them run from this great unknown threat, or whether they should join with the other races and unite and collectively push on. It's very interesting. Each race and each allegiance of each race plays very differently. They've got very different research trees and titans. It's just the world fascinates me, and I want to learn more about it. If there's a Sins of a Solar Empire book, I want to get my hands on it. I was tempted at one point to write one. It's just that I lack the skill. And so Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion receives the Ahrtimmer Award for the best setting in a game. It's just a world that fascinates me, and I want to know more about it. Duels of the Planeswalkers, Magic The Gathering, Doors of the Planeswalkers 2013, which is strange because it came out in 2012, but I understand that card games are in the future. I don't know why, they just are. That game, that was a lot of fun. I bought it on a whim because I was like, I've got enough money, I'm going to buy a game. Should I get Red Faction, which I've had no real history with except playing the first one and finding it moderately average. I was either going to get that, Command & Conquer 4, which I'd seen a little bit of and been interested in trying out, but wasn't really sure if I should get it, and then something completely out of the blue, something that I'd never played before on a computer card game. Magic the Gathering is a lot of fun. Never played card games like this before, and it's the amount of hours I've spent with friends just trying to crush them, heart, mind, and body, destroying their very soul with these little playing cards. It's incredibly fun and entertaining game, and it's the most satisfying game to win that I've played in years. When you win a round of Magic the Gathering, it's like, yes, I am a god! You have felt the wrath of my mirror, which allows me to never end my turn and completely overpowered nonsense. The game is riddled with overpoweredness, but everyone has a little bit of it, so it's a little bit fair. It's just a really fun game, and it gets the award for the most satisfying game to win. Magic the Gathering, Doors of the Planeswalkers 2013. You are quite a mouthful to say, and you are the most satisfying game to win of 2012. Possibly even longer. Counter-Strike Global Operations. I believe that's the full name. I only ever call it CSGO. It's Counter-Strike all over again. I like Counter-Strike Source. I played a bit of Condition Zero, and despite everyone saying it was terrible, I kind of like the story. Like, the campaign was interesting to do. It kind of shits me that you've got 10 seconds to disarm a nuclear bomb, and then you have another 10 seconds to kill the man with the remote detonator to the nuclear bomb you just disarmed. I'm not sure how that works. But back onto topic, Counter-Strike Go was very solid. It was a online shooter. It was still Counter-Strike. It had everything that Counter-Strike had, and a few little bits extra, some fun game modes, but that's all it was. It paid the price, or rather, you didn't. It was a very cheap game. But that's because it was just Counter-Strike tightened down and improved. And that's all anyone ever wanted from it. So it was a good game. But in the end, it's just more of the same. And if you already have Counter-Strike Source and are still playing it, there's no huge incentive to go to Counter-Strike Go if you haven't already. Counter-Strike Go, it's not really an award in any sense. It's not really a negative award either. It's just 2012. Counter-Strike Go is the game that's just more of the same. Now onto a game that I speak very highly of very regularly, and yet don't end up playing very often. Guild Wars 2. I cannot describe how much I enjoy this game. It is well, I can't say it's the MMO I always wanted, because the MMO I always wanted will never exist. Not in my lifetime, because the level of complication and player reality, basically Eve in a fantasy environment with combat that's actually good, that doesn't exist. But Guild Wars 2, it's a lot closer than anything I've played before. I've played Rift, I've played WoW, and hotkey MMOs just, they're terrible. Guild Wars 2 is hotkey in the way that it controls, but I imagine you could rebind it to a mouse or some sort of gamepad, and I'm not sure where I'm going with this. Suffice to say that I love the game. The world's entertaining. The characters that I meet make me want to talk to them. I want to know these people better. I want to save the world. I want to be a part of this great struggle, and the problem is that I'm not. A limit in downloads is a very painful thing when trying to play a MMO that's just come out, because you get regular patches of a gigabyte or more, and I simply cannot afford to be downloading them. I'm sad to say that Guild Wars 2 is the game that I've not played enough of, and it just makes me sad because I'm so close to being level cap. I want to be doing more. I want to finish it. I want to do every single thing that game has to offer. Sadly, I can't right now. Guild Wars 2, you have received the Ahrtimmer Award for the game I've not played enough of, the game that I want to play the most for this year. You met all of my expectations. It just makes me happy. Faster Than Light is the next game I'd like to talk about. Faster Than Light is one of those little games, it's one of those little indies that just, you see and go, yeah, I'll get that, that's cheap. I'll buy that, throw some money away. If it's not that good, it's no real big deal because it's got very little cost to play it, and wow, is that game worth it. I have to drag myself away from that game. I haven't played it in a very long time because I know that if I start playing it again, I will be playing it for a week. Won't get anything else done because this losing is fun. Every time you lose, you want to start again and try again. See what the next set of variables gives you. And I can play phenomenally bad and be killed in the very first zone, or I can play all the way through. I've beaten the game twice now. It's just good. It's a fun game in every respect, but it's a time vampire. And not like one of those little vampire initiates that's been living his unlife for a week. Like, we're talking, to get super nerdy on you, we're talking Kane levels of time vampire. We're talking consume every living thing on this planet levels of time vampire. I'm glad that not the entire world has it, because if that game was free and every gamer on the planet got Faster Than Light, the world would stop. Just would. Faster Than Light. You're receiving the 2012 Ahrtimmer Award for the biggest time sink of the year. Congratulations, you've earned it in every respect. Now, sadly, we have to move on to another negative of sorts. Borderlands 2. It's a good game. It's solid. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't find myself engaging with it. The only aspect of it that I truly enjoy in and of itself is the villain. Handsome Jack's really well created, and I want to punch him in his scrawny little face. I want to kick every part of his testicles repeatedly and crush his very being. He's an unpleasant gentleman, and he killed a friend of mine, and no, I will probably finish the game eventually just to beat you, and that's all I want from the game is Handsome Jack dead on a plate. Probably so I can eat him. But sadly, beyond that, the game, its questing's alright. That game style, I liked the idea of. The whole action RPG crossed with a first-person shooter. Kinda cool. Like, Hellgate London tried it and failed. Borderlands is the only other real game in the genre. And it's fun, but I just don't enjoy playing it. Certainly not on my own, which is why it's getting the award that it's getting. I play it because I've got friends playing it, and they're more entertaining than the game. They also help me because I really suck at it, let's make this clear. But it's the game that I play because I've got friends playing it, and that's the award it's getting. Borderlands 2. You are the 2012 game that I only got for the friends. They're good friends, and they make the game great. and it's sad that the game couldn't be great on its own, but I suppose the fact that I'm enjoying it when I'm playing with them, that's enough for me. On to a much, much higher note. Torchlight 2. We've had a lot of 2s in this series, and there's 2 more to come, oddly enough. Torchlight 2 is great. I never finished Torchlight 1. I barely even got halfway through it because this game brings nothing to me that I couldn't get elsewhere, was how I felt about it. It was alright, but something was not quite there about it. Maybe because I played the Alchemist and spammed Chain Lightning until everything died, and it was kind of boring combat when you play it like that. But it was just Diablo 1 with a dog. Kinda good, I guess. I like the idea, but meh. Nothing about it gripped me. Torchlight 2, however, I wasn't gonna get, because Diablo 3 had run me right off the genre of that hack and slashy game, but eventually I saw people playing it online and just went, might as well. I'll give it a shot. That game's a whole lot of fun. It's barrels of fun. It's Diablo 2 for me all over again. It's a feeling that I never thought I'd find again after having played Diablo 3, and it's good. I'm a man with a bird who throws glaives. Glaives to me have always been a polearm, but spinny choppiness, everything dies. It's very, very fun game. I recommend it to a lot of people, and it was the biggest surprise for me of the year. Torchlight 2, the Ahrtimmer Award for biggest surprise goes to you. Come up and take your trophy. On to the next game, which is almost as deserving of the same award, HalfMinute Hero. What even is happening here? I don't understand what's going on. Well, I do, but I don't want to at times. There's time travel and a god that's obsessed with money. I don't know what she spends it on, but she likes it a lot. And you get to wear a swimming outfit while killing people, and I'm wearing a wig that makes me look like a woman, and you run super fast. You've got 30 seconds to save the world, hence the name HalfMinute Hero, and I understand that there are multiple other games in it to be played if you finish the game, and it's something I'm very keen to do. It's just strange and odd and out of nowhere and a whole lot of fun. That's what I'm awarding it for. HalfMinute Hero is just simple, silly fun. And the most simple, silly, fun game of 2012. Congratulations, it's just odd. Onto a game that barely qualifies to this list, because I'm only covering games that I bought from this year, that came out this year. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is a GameCube game by all technicalities, but recently received a PC port. It's the same game, nothing's changed. I did play it back on GameCube. I never actually owned a GameCube, but I played it for a few weeks and spent way too much time raising a strange animal that eats other animals to gain their body parts and powers. You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head at the idea. But it's a Sonic game, it's a modern Sonic game, and that should mean a lot to anyone who's played a modern Sonic game. They're just a bit, why is this a thing? Granted, they're easier than the old Sonic games because you can actually see what's coming about 3 seconds down the track, but the game is difficult not because the game is difficult. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle is a hard game because the camera and the game controls are appalling. Your camera controls consist of rotate it left and rotate it right. The camera you aren't aware of if you don't really notice it, but it's actually a physical object. If you could get the camera to look at itself, you'd probably see something. Because you can push things with it. You can actually interact with the world with your third-person camera. Your controls consist of rotating it left and right around your person, but the moment you take a step, it'll snap back to where it wants to be for that particular segment. Not entirely useful, particularly if you want to go backwards. Granted, that's not something you want to do very often, but every so often you want to go back, and the camera's like, nah, I'm looking this way. Don't even try, mate. More frustratingly, in some of the levels, it can get stuck behind a wall. Suddenly you've got a camera which is following you through a wall. All you're seeing is the close-up of the very bad texture work that makes up that game. It's old. I don't blame it for that. But why? Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. You are the game that had the worst controls of 2012. Everything else about you is good, but that's what you're getting your award for, because it's your most standout feature. Onward to Awesomenauts. It's a game a lot of people have played. It's fairly cheap. It's on the Xbox and now on the PC. It's got some good aspects. I like the music. I like some of the ideas behind it. But I play too much LOL. That's my MOBA of choice, and everyone has one, and everyone hates the people who don't play their MOBA of choice. I don't understand why, but that's just how it is. But Awesomenauts, I played 4 games. To date, I've played 4 games of Awesomenauts, including 1 to practice and learn the controls. That wasn't entirely complicated at all, but I don't need it to be complicated. What I needed from it was for it to be entertaining. As not. I don't care what your personal opinion is, but Awesomenauts to me was just... There's one word that describes it. Awesomenauts. You are receiving the Ahrtimmer Award for 2012 for the most meh. You are the game that has significant quantities of meh. Greater quantities of meh than any other game of the year. I suppose there's that. You've got that going for you. Just a little sad, really. But the best game, the last game I'm going to waste your time talking about, the best game for me for 2012 is PlanetSide 2. I've never really known PlanetSide 1 existed. But then I started hearing about PlanetSide 2, mostly because YouTube people who care about the series. And then I got into the beta, just because I figured, yeah, might be worth a shot. That was a good decision. That was a very good decision. PlanetSide 2 is an amazingly fun game. Its entire continent's worth of battles, the fights that can happen are absurd, and every so often someone will destroy you, and you'll go on a 50 death streak and be incredibly depressed about your entire existence. And then you will pull out your sniper rifle if you're anything like me, find yourself a friendly little hill that's looking at the enemy walls, and proceed to put your entire stock of ammunition into individual heads. Engineers trying to fix things they're just really easy targets. I ain't gonna lie. And my kill streaks have been hours long at times in that game. Don't say I'm cheap because I'm a sniper. It's their fault for sitting still. I can't hit a moving target, but if you're gonna stand there with your head poking out above cover, I'm going to remove it. Everything about this game is good. It looks just stellar. It plays really, really well. The lag isn't an issue, and it has an Australian server. This is a big thing that rarely exists for me. Everything about this game is outstanding, and that is why it's receiving the Game of the Year for me, because it's just worth it. There's no other game that has everything in the same way that it does. I can't think of a downside. I can't think of a negative aspect of PlanetSide 2. Besides the fact that I picked the team that has the shotgun, and the shotgun's the most random weapon. I'm going to shoot you at this range, and you're going to die in one shot. I'm going to shoot you at the same range the next day, and it's going to take 10 rounds to bring you down. I don't know why. It's a fun game. You should all go out and get it. It is free to play, after all. Thank you all for watching the Ahrtimmer Awards ceremony. To recap, Tribes Ascend was this year's hardest game, Sniper Elite V2 is our best all-rounder, Diablo III was our biggest disappointment, and Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion had the best setting and world. Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2013 was the most satisfying game to win, and Counter-Strike Go was just more of the same. Guild Wars 2 I've wanted to play a lot more of, and Faster Than Light stole my time like a little thief. Borderlands 2 I only played because of the friends, and Torchlight 2 was quite surprising. Our biggest surprise. HalfMinute Hero was just simple, silly fun. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle had some terrible controls, but is fun nonetheless. Awesomenauts was just a lot of meh, but PlanetSide 2 was our best 2012 release. Thank you all for watching, and good night.